pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joan?
Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor Janik? Present. Councilor DiMederos?
Present.
Councilor Milburn?
Present.
Councilors Paull, Edwards, and Burke are absent.
Consent agenda, approval of town council minutes, June 15th, 2024. Special meeting, Council Milburn abstains, absent. June 24th, regular meeting, Council Edwards, the 5th, abstains, absent. Acknowledge receipts and minutes from boards and commissions and committees. Harbor Commission 2, Historical Cemetery 2, Zoning 2. Acknowledge receipts of reports, Town Administrator, Department's monthly reports, July 2024. Town Administrator, Police and Fire Department overtime reports, July 2024. Acknowledge receipts of correspondence, letter from Marsha Flynn regarding banning of open burning. Would any of the councils like to take anything from the consent agenda?
A1 and D1.
Motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda.
Do I have-
Second.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Unanimous. All right, A1.
It's just a little typo. At the very top, it says the meeting was held on Saturday at 9 p.m. It should be 9 a.m.
Yeah, we weren't anywhere at 9 p.m. now.
So, you're welcome. And the other letter from Masha,
It's right here if you want.
thank you, is about the open burning. And I know that we just redid this.
Yep.
But I didn't know if she was talking about when she calls the fire department that they really feel that they have no leeway in anything. And I didn't know if we should just look at it to see if there's anything.
Yeah, well, there is burning allowed.
At certain times
At certain
of the
times,
year.
May to September, you can have a backyard little fire.
Correct.
In the past, this person has had a problem with the neighbor burning trash every day instead of putting it out to their.
But is it every
this goes-
day during the period where we're not supposed to burn?
It's every day. So we have had several times that we've gone down there, we've spoke to him, there's other things that have happened. We can look at it today, I guess. When I was doing the agenda, we weren't sure if there was any penalties. So Chris was gonna look into it for me and see, so I'll put it back, I'll put something back on the agenda.
Okay, just so, yes.
Unfortunately, Chris isn't here today,
So that
so
we've acknowledged.
That's fine. And trash, just so the record's clear, trash can never be burned.
never be burnt.
Never.
And some people in town feel that instead of buying the trash bags, they can burn their trash.
Madam Chair.
John?
So I, too, was going to pull this off the consent agenda. Yeah, thank you. And, you know, my suggestion would be that we send this over to the fire chief, just to get his comment, but also along those lines, you know, there was a line in here talking about how, you know, Tiverton's, you know, growing in population, it's not farms anymore, and, you know, people are closer by, and all this stuff about, you know, how outdoor fires can cause asthma and all these other health effects. The reality is, where this constituent is on East Road is very much in the farmland area on the south end of town. So I would be very much opposed to, you know, any type of amendment to the existing ordinance preventing burning, given that, you know, from a landmass perspective, half the town plus is essentially either open space or, you know, farmland area, or now actually in the R120 with a 3-acre minimum zone. So, you know, that's just my personal thoughts.
I've been getting some people asking me to make the burning ban from June to September.
I've heard
And
that as well.
Yeah, and that we may look into that also, because that's when people do yard work, and that's when they burn, and so we can. I'll talk to Chris, and I'll have the fire chief look at this and go over it and see what he suggests.
Okay, because
Yeah.
she also talks about her mother who lives in the East End, and I'm not sure exactly where she lives.
Yeah.
She's got some
Near me.
issues too. Okay.
We did a comprehensive review and amendment of this ordinance in 2022
Yes.
to regulate some of these issues, so.
Yes.
Just before my arrival on the
We can
council.
always revisit it, but I know we had a lot of input when we did it, so.
Yeah, it was, one of the councilors didn't want any burning at all, and we did compromise and do it the way we did it, but we can relook at it again.
Yeah, and there was also a higher risk of fire at the time. We were experiencing droughts versus now
And
with
we-
La Nina, it's going to be super wet. So
And we also have to look at fines and fees, because if someone's continuously illegally burning, then there should be some fine that we can enforce.
Madam Chair, motion to approve 4A1 and 4D1.
Second.
Motion been made in second. All those in favor? Okay. Public comment. Karen Effred, item 9-1, Rhode Island Ready app fee. Do you want to wait till we talk about it, or you want to talk about it tonight, right now? It's up to you.
I can talk about it right now.
Okay.
Karen Ephraim, 74 North
You
Christopher
can
Avenue.
sit down if you're more comfortable.
My name is Karen Ephraim. I live at 74 North Christopher Avenue. So I remain strongly opposed to pursuing the development of the Tiverton Business Park with RI Ready. As I expressed in the March 25th, 2024 Town Council meeting, I have deep concerns about the potential impacts of any such development, despite Councilman Edwards' assurances that nothing hazardous would be located in the business park. The required blasting for development would introduce hazardous chemicals posing significant risks. The town's state-approved 2018 Comprehensive Community Plan even warns that earth removal operations that involve quarrying of sand and gravel and the blasting of granite and other hard rock formations pose serious risks to groundwater quality and quantity. Allowing development would expose our schools, Ranger Elementary, Tiverton High School, and Tiverton Middle School, as well as Stafford Pond, the environment, and nearby residential neighborhoods to particulate matter, dust, noise pollution, blasting hazards, wetlands disruption, and wildlife displacement. The proximity to Stafford Pond, which feeds into Watuppa Pond, both public drinking water sources, raises additional concerns. Given issues with Stafford Pond's water quality issues over the past several years, and more recent warnings about forever chemicals in Watuppa Pond affecting the consumption of fish, it is alarming that the town is considering development over conservation efforts. Trees and natural forests are vital for maintaining clean air and protecting our drinking water. Furthermore, the Tiverton Business Park area holds significant cultural value for the Pecasset Wampanoag tribe. Any development risks destroying Native American artifacts and historical sites similar to the loss faced by an African American community in Clearwater, Florida, as reported by 60 Minutes on November 27, 2022. We should not subject the Native American community to further injustices by disregarding their cultural heritage. It is disheartening to see that the town council is considering development that would alter Tiverton's rural character. As Vice President Burke stated during the March 25, 2024 town council meeting on a matter separate from the Rhode Island Ready presentation, he said he didn't want to have a town that people don't want to live in. Allowing such development could lead to undesirable changes, including 24/7 business operations and diesel truck traffic, which would undermine Tiverton's beauty and charm. I urge you to prioritize the town's long-term health and viability over potential short-term financial gains. The approximately 30-year investment in the business park has not paid off, and it remains a poor investment due to the land's undesirable condition. Even though the land is zoned industrial, it is in the best interest of the public to reconsider its use. Lastly, what is the status of the town's water capacity study? We must understand this fully before incurring any application fees to Rhode Island Ready.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have a copy of that, of what you just read? Could you email it to us?
Be very careful. She's got probably 85 footnotes that will link to everything because Karen's a very good researcher.
Yes, I'd be happy to email you that, and I could also, if I can give this to you because I do have multiple copies of it, but this is a letter that was addressed to the town council and also to North Point Development.
We have that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you should have on file that
Madam
outlines.
Clerk has that.
Yeah, we have that.
So-
If not, I think I might even have a PDF copy too I can forward.
But if you could, yeah, if you could forward what you just read tonight, that would be helpful.
Okay, I can certainly do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to recommend, I'd like to ask that we bring 9A forward.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Paul, Canulla. Concerns about road grading drainage at 23 Dewey Avenue, overhanging branches, weeds, growth on Main Road sidewalk, and potholes on Main Road between Grinnell's Beach and Route 24. You can bring a chair right in front of me if you want.
Hello again.
Yeah, I just need to see him though. Okay. That's okay, I can move.
Thank you so much for all your help.
All right. Good evening.
Hi there. I've lived here in Tiverton all my life. Born and bred. Many years I've lived in this town. Anyway, the reason I'm here this evening is talk about back in 2014, housing development went up. There was a contractor and someone came to look at the house, and there were some things that were done dishonestly, and I felt like I was taken advantage of. There was a deck that was built, and they said that if there's a fire in the home, where's the safety? And it was so upsetting to me because my wife and I were expecting to be able to renovate this property. We put so much money into it. And I just felt that we weren't being honest. I just felt that they were trying to take advantage of us and signing all these contracts, but they weren't being honest with me, and I felt like I was being ripped off. I spent all this money, my wife and I, to get this property renovated. That was one of the issues, the dishonesty with the town.
Excuse me 1 minute. One second. So who did he feel was ripping him off?
The contractors that were I was being used, that were licensed, supposed to be licensed
all right, the
contractors. Yeah, the
contractors,
contractors
people.
themselves.
Okay, thank
I was
you.
expecting them to be honest with me, and the work that they did was quite shoddy work. Where was I? Oh, the other thing I wanted to speak with you about is, I'm just trying to get my wife's attention. She's got some pictures of the property. Would you mind sharing these pictures? One of my neighbors in the property near it, I mean, I'm not making this stuff up, I can actually show you the proof of what I have. Not too long ago, there was a house next to my property, and there was a disagreement about the property line. And so we decided to have it, and look, we had a company look at where the boundaries actually lie. And again, I wasn't too familiar with the policies and how to find out where the property line exists. So I actually tried to check this assessment to see where it was, and one of my neighbors says, this can't be your property line, and we got into a legal battle about where this property line is. The person who surveyed my property said, this is where the property line is. Where is you know how they have the orange cone or the orange little marker? I looked everywhere for that where that marker is. That contractor should have put that there where the assessment was, where my town property was, and that was not there. And we're supposed to have a particular amount of footage between the front of my property and the street. We actually, we had already put the fence up based on what the contractor had told us. And I was off by a foot. The neighbor said, no, your fence is on my property. It actually was my property, and I just gave him the foot of property where the assessor was. I came to the town hall and spoke to a person here, really helpful. The person came here, he showed me where the town property line was, and then he had someone come and survey, and whatever he told me, They didn't charge me a fee for that. I appreciated because I put my fence on the wrong property line, but that was because of what was, the assessor was told. They finally did find the marker, but it was hidden under the shrubbery. I didn't see it. And then when they actually measured where the property line was, it was 79 feet, so I was off by a foot. So that was just one of the stories of my experience about the neighbor getting involved in litigation because they wanted me to have a discussion with him, and the person from the town hall was able to, from the town council, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, he's no longer here. The person that took over for him, I thought, oh, well, this guy doesn't know who I am. And I was trying to explain to him what the property line was, what the issue was with and all the mess around the properties. I like to keep my property clean, and it looks like a dump there. People are throwing their trash, and all that trash is coming into my property. And there's all kinds of, there are skunks, there are snakes, there are rodents, there are rats, all kinds of things is all growing into my property because no one is maintaining that. And even the neighbor's shed is in disrepair. I can even show you the pictures there, and it makes my property value look terrible. If I can share these with you? That's all right, I would have brought them to you.
The nature of the request, though. The nature of the request was our street, 23 Dewey Avenue, is graded poorly, such that there's always a puddle lake in front of the house, and the water does not drain well.
And I do have pictures of that as well.
Okay. Now, what my
I can show you the pictures of the grade. Now, these are separate if you could, this is where the poor grading of the property. You could see the water, how it's not draining.
right. Now, my understanding is you've spoke to our DPW director, and he's here tonight, so I'm going to ask him to come up. And he's been down there, as he was actually down there last week.
Right, that's right, he was here last week.
Madam Chair, if I could just interject real quick.
Oh, yeah, you are, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
He likes you, Rick. John?
So, as it relates to the drainage issue on the road, I mean, I'm just looking at Google Maps, and I'm sure the DPW director will validate this. It looks almost like the road kind of slopes and slants and dumps all the water right, basically to the front of this gentleman's driveway. Is that correct assessment?
That's not what the assessment that Rick wrote up, so.
Okay.
Rick, would you like to address the drainage?
Okay, we've met with the Canullas, always very pleasant, multiple times, had phone conversations, emails. As they mentioned, the Canullas did some work on their property, including driveway and landscape work. The driveway pitches slightly towards the house. They landscaped their lawn without raising it at the road edge, with the results that some road runoff went onto the lawn. They asked DPW to install a berm. DPW installed the berm as requested. The Canullas decided they didn't like the berm in front of their driveway, so DPW removed the berm in front of the driveway. After that, North Tiverton Fire District did perform water main work, with the result that milling and repaving had to be done as part of the contract. Prior to repaving, DPW mentioned to North Tiverton Fire District and the paving contractor that the Canullas had past water runoff complaints. North Tiverton Fire District and the Carty Superintendent, who was the paving contractor, met on the site with the Canullas prior to repaving. To DPW knowledge, the paving was done to accommodate the Canullas' request regarding stormwater runoff. Per the Canullas' request in May of 2024, the DPW director and the foreman checked the site and did not see any drainage issues. On 8/7/24, around 1 o'clock, DPW director and the foreman checked the site and did not see any drainage issues. It had rained part of 8/6 and part of 8/7. No puddles were seen in front of the property that day. There may be standing water during rainstorms, but that's not uncommon. Mr. Canulla did come outside that day, and he indicated that he wanted the road repitched to the north instead of to the south. that is not practical. As Council Edwards was saying, the road is crowned. That's not unusual, so it pitches to the north and to the south. Also, Mr. Canulla indicated that the road was not pitched satisfactorily to the east. It appears to DPW that the road is pitched satisfactorily to the east.
All right. Would Mr. Canulla like to comment?
But isn't there some type of technology that will grade it appropriately? Maybe where the rain is, have some type of natural drainage so that water could naturally go someplace else instead of in front of someone's property? Is there some way to do some type of, some type of technology to be creative? There's got to be some way to be able to resolve this, because, I mean, this is the same things that have been taken. We don't have the money to redo this, and sometimes it's just a bit much to take, being a Tiverton resident. I mean, you get the money, we pay the taxes for this. It should seem to me that there's got to be some creative way to resolve this issue. I just don't understand it. In addition to that, on the main road, it's so bumpy and in disrepair. Ruining my cars, my tires, I'm constantly replacing them. It would be nice to be able to get that main road completely repaved. I mean, it's in such disrepair now, it's terrible. Dewey Avenue, and then this other road, the two of them, my home on Dewey, it's a small road. Sometimes motorcycles, I'll be working in my yard, not seeing, I can't see out of one of my eyes, and this motorcycle comes screaming out here, and these people are swearing at me because I didn't see them. I'm thinking, I didn't see them. And just their vulgarity to me is so disrespectful, and it's so frustrating the way they ramp down that road. I mean, I'm a deaf resident. I've lived there all my life. My wife is also deaf. It's just, they have such a disregard for other individuals. I recently moved to this neighborhood. I mean, I grew up in Tiverton, but I was on Bourne Avenue earlier. That's where I was raised. But then, once I got married, I moved to this area on Dewey. And I don't know, it just seems that the neighborhood is changing, and I don't understand. People don't care. They just don't care. I feel like I'm not getting the needs met that I have in my neighborhood.
All right, so that last thing is a police issue, if they're speeding. It's not a DPW issue. And it was just explained by the DPW director that we've had several people out there who are engineers, I'd imagine.
Well, I'm an engineer. The
I know
foreman
you
is
are.
the foreman with 20-plus years
Right.
experience.
And plus, you also had Cotties out there.
Well,
Yes.
they're no more.
What?
Cardi Corp's bankrupt.
Am I saying Cotty? Yeah, but they were out
Yeah.
there, and they did it.
I mean, I don't really trust them now, but
No, I know.
they're also out of business.
But Rick went down there, and we're not, what I understand is there's really nothing more we can do with the pitch.
Yeah, and what I would say to that, Madam President, is that it's not unusual. There are some shallow pitch roads in town. That is one of them until you get further to the east. When you have that kind of shallow pitch, you have to pitch it the best you can. But it's not unusual during a rainstorm to have water standing on the road. But it drains not as quickly as a steep pitched road, but it does drain. And again, we've been out there and we, recently in the last few months and last week, we have not seen a drainage issue. And the day it was raining and the day before it hadn't rained, on 8/7 and 8/6, there were no puddles at that time.
Now,
And yet in front of my property, there seems to be water. And on the other properties, they don't have the water. But it's only my property that the water seems to stand. I don't understand why that is. Is it just where my property is in relation? I mean, everybody else's doesn't have water that's standing in front of their property. Why is it only my house? It just seems, it's just like the way the pitch is. It just seems to me if it was pitched differently, why my house and nobody else's?
that's a hard question.
If,
Yeah, I look around and nobody else has this water in front of their driveway. I just don't understand it. It just seems to me to be unfair.
the road, bear in mind, the road was,
He's just checking in with his wife.
oh, okay.
What was that, sir?
So bear in mind, the road was constructed long ago. If you happen to live in an area where there's shallow pitch, then it will drain more slowly. And Mr. and Mrs. Canulla happen to live in an area where there's shallow pitch. It does drain, but it drains over time.
Okay.
Madam Chair? Just a quick question for the director.
Well, he's still,
I'm just, don't understand, maybe it was the quality of work, I don't know, could be.
oh, okay.
And his wife saying, there's really not much more we can do about it.
Okay. John?
Would it be possible, and again, I don't know what this is or what the long-term drainage plans are, but, you know, again, just to my eye, I look at it, it looks like they're kind of the low point in that straightaway. What would we be looking at if we had to do like a catch basin or something? You know, one of the little grates in the hole right in front of their, like right by the corner of their driveway.
Well, you'd have to take up the road.
Yep.
You'd have to, if there is no pipe there, you'd have to install a pipe to a downhill catch basin, which may be at Main Road, I don't know.
I think we're
Okay.
going down a slippery slope.
I'm just
here.
curious.
Is there any way to level it off
What-
on that side?
Well, it's pitched. It pitches
So if it's
from the
pitched like
crown.
this, is there any way to fill in that pitch gap?
No, it's pitched in the middle, to the north and to the south.
Right.
That's not unusual.
Okay.
And then it pitches either to the east or west, depending on where you are on Dewey. In their location, it's pitched to the east, but it is a shallow pitch. But there's people to the east, there's people to the west. If you change the grade, you would disrupt that drainage too.
It's gonna
So
cause-
it does pitch to the east, but it just pitches slowly. It's a gradual pitch, but that's not unusual. And again, I stress that it's not unusual to have wet spots during a rainstorm, but it drains over time.
Is it a safe, do you look at this as a safety concern, the puddling?
No,
No.
no, and we don't, one of the things we look at is whether there's ice issues, because if there's ice issues, that means water is standing there and it turns to ice in the winter, and we don't have an issue there.
Rick, are you seeing more of this in the last year or so? Because we've definitely had more water, more rain over this last summer, maybe last summer also. Is this something that's increased over the last probably 2 years?
On other properties, you're saying? Because he hasn't seen the water there.
Anywhere?
Yeah.
Or has Mr. Canulla seen an increase in the last 2 summers anyway, where we've had more rain?
Yeah, I guess it's been in the past year or so.
More rain?
The only thing I hesitate with digging up a road and put the drainage, and there's probably a lot of residents that have puddling in front of their houses.
I'm just
so
asking.
We're kind of opening up somewhere we might not want to go and set precedent.
As long as there's not intrusion into the Canulla's house too, I mean, that
No,
would,
and there isn't, right? He doesn't have flooding in his basement or,
No.
okay.
Not at all.
So because I personally understand the concerns and feel for that, because where I live, and the director's already confirmed this when I moved to the street, but the entire street pitches directly to my driveway. It runs straight down my driveway and straight to my basement, so.
yeah, there are some problems, but as long as it's not intruding in his house or. Now, as far as Main Road, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's bad. It definitely needs to be repaved. I mean, I've been there for
Main Road.
11 years.
All right, I just wanted to finish what I had to say, though. I just didn't know if he was talking about the prior issue. Main Road is a state road. And Rick, would you like to speak on that?
Yes,
I tried to reach out to them.
Yeah. Mr. Canulla said that.
He said he has tried to
reach out to DOT?
Yes.
Okay. So on Main Road, this year with our seasonal help, we have been doing some trimming, some weed whacking along Main Road sidewalks, the brush, the grass. And that area was between Dewey and Pleasant, brought to our attention via the request, and DPW has been out there trimming that. We have not quite finished that area, but we expect to finish that soon, and then we're gonna go back onto other areas, because we did notice it, so we thank you for the letter, Mr. and Mrs. Canulla, and we have been out there addressing that issue.
Where the telephone poles are placed as well, they're in such a dangerous area because they're right in the middle of the sidewalk. Wouldn't it be wiser to move them over to the edge? Because when you're walking down that sidewalk, you gotta do a little dance around the poles.
you can't.
I mean, if anyone's in a wheelchair there, it's so
Yeah,
difficult.
I don't think we can move telephone poles.
Well, the weed whacking, Councilor President, Madam President, is,
Call me Denise.
is under DPW
Right.
around the state, not just Tiverton. But poles are under the jurisdiction of the utilities, and the road itself and the creation of the sidewalk, that's under the purview of DOT. So that's not DPW.
Now, as far as paving of Main Road, is it your understanding that that section is going to be paved this year?
Yes, but not in the Dewey area.
Okay.
Main Road will be milled and paved to DPW's understanding from 24
Grinnell's
towards
Beach.
Nanaquacket.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. It won't impact my house. That's what it needs to be.
I used to walk, and obviously, I already said that, I mentioned that my eye can't see too well out of my left eye. I got a scratch on my face as I'm walking. I was walking alone a couple of years ago. It's really nice that you're taking care of that land now. When my dad was a state senator, he made sure he was on it, made sure that that property was always cleaned up. It just doesn't seem to be on top of it as it was when my dad was the senator. I actually got a tree branch right in my face and scratched my eye. It would have been nice to keep this up. I used to live in Warren and moved back to my hometown because this is where my heart is. And I just love Tiverton. I just wish that it was taken care of.
So as the director has explained, they have been down there. You brought it to our attention, and the work is not completed, but it will be completed. And as far as Main Road, as we've said, RIDOT is in charge of the road, and they do have road plans, just like Tiverton does, but that's not the area they're doing this year.
Madam Chair, when RIDOT came in front of us to talk about the road plans, I know they had some extensive binders and that sort of thing. Do we have copies of that in the clerk's office in case anybody wants to take a look?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought we put that on the website.
And we did, yeah, on the website as well.
yeah. Don't get these mixed up with the other ones.
Do the Canullas want their pictures back?
Yes,
Okay.
I think, yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, and, those,
There was a lot of back and forth going here. If you just give me another minute. Can you just tell me real quick, who's responsible for the trash that's there? A lot of neighbors have a lot of trash, like, because it's attracting rodents. People just leave their trash there near my property line. Is there somebody who's responsible? Is it the DPW or is it?
Syringes there as well.
okay, that would be the building inspector. And the residents are responsible for keeping up
So
keeping up
is
their
that something
land.
that the town council would take care of, reaching out to them?
I can personally ask the building inspector to go down to the property, to Mr. Canulla's property, and he can show him.
Yeah, the pictures show some of the,
Yeah, but sometimes it's sometimes it's best if he goes down himself.
okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
where is the building inspector's office?
The building official is here, but I will talk to him tomorrow. I'm here in town hall most of the day tomorrow, and I will meet with him, and I'll have him go down to that property sometime this week.
That would be great. He'll be, if he sees it in person, that will make much,
Yes, it's much better for him
Yes.
to see it.
will be, I just like the property looking nice. And all that property, all the trees and yard debris from the other property line comes into my yard. I just love a nice clean yard.
Have him go down. All right, is that it? Thank you, Mr. Canulla.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's how you do it. I learned that at one point when I was in the ER, sign language. It's very helpful in the ER. Thank you for coming, ladies.
The only sign language word I know is this. That's shrimp.
All right, we'll continue. Public hearing advertised, discussion and possible vote, Sakonnet Recycling.
Come by.
Will do.
Okay. He's invited us over. Sakonnet Recycling, Robert Barrile, 413 Bulgarmarsh Road, requesting approval of Auto Junkyard secondhand dealer's license renewal, subject to meeting all legal requirements. Hi, welcome. Any questions? Everyone knows where this is. You haven't been open for a little while though, right?
We closed January of 2020 when the
Okay.
pandemic hit.
Yeah, I go by there all the time,
Right,
so that's,
right.
yeah. And you're reopening.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions from the council? Any concerns? Nope. I know. I just want to read something over here.
We did have issues with mailing, but that's been all taken care of.
It's, I got the bill in the mail this morning, so I know you got it right. So,
All right. I'd like to open the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this subject? Like to open the public hearing? I'll close the public hearing and entertain a vote. I'm sorry.
Motion. Madam Chair,
Motion.
a motion that we approve the Auto Junkyard secondhand dealer license for Sakonnet Recycling, Robert Barrile, 413 Bulgarmarsh Road, subject to meeting all legal requirements.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. You're all set.
Thank you.
thank you.
Quick and
Appreciate it.
painless.
Thank you.
I'm gonna move myself back again.
I appreciate that.
Board of Licensing, discussion and possible vote. J. Lee Egna, DBA The Yellow House, Rhode Island, 3842 Main Road. Request approval for new holiday license, subject to meeting all legal requirements. Hi. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the Yellow House?
Hi, yeah.
Hi.
Good evening. I'm Jaylee Egna, the Spinny Cavallo. We live in town in Four Corners, and we are opening a small retail store in Four Corners called the Yellow House. It's a community-minded bookstore, and we'll sell.
We've heard about it,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're very excited.
Yeah, we're kind of excited about it,
yeah.
so go ahead.
I'm excited for my wife. She does the book club stuff.
Regents.
Exactly. Yeah, I call
So
you,
you'll
ask
be
you.
you'll be having book club events and,
Exactly, yeah. We hope to sell books and, local and handmade artisan items and try to create like a community-minded space. So book clubs, gathering around to see friends, old friends, new friends, maybe having like a little workshop, taking classes, things like that.
perfect.
Yeah.
Any questions? And we have been discussing a liquor license also, and that's coming up.
Madam Chair,
Any questions? Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the new holiday license for J. Lee Egna, DBA The Yellow House, Rhode Island, 3842 Main Road, subject to meeting all of the legal requirements.
Second.
Can I just ask a
Yep,
question?
motion been made in second
It's,
discussion.
right, it's not just a holiday license, right? It's,
That's all they need at this point.
all they need.
that's
To open.
all you're doing is just a holiday right now?
Correct.
No, Howard.
At this time, the holiday, they are looking for the Class C license, and that's later on in the agenda to put it out for advertisement.
Right,
Okay.
but a holiday license,
A holiday license is for, so they can operate on holidays.
Yeah.
Right, so,
yeah,
Like Monday, yeah, VJ Day.
right.
right.
So
So
they're,
that's all they're gonna
no,
No,
they're open regularly, they can open the other 6 days of the week, or 7 days a week if they, Sunday and
This is
holidays.
just to add the
This is
holiday.
added, yes.
Okay,
It would allow them
that's-
to operate on a holiday, like
Thank you.
Monday, yes.
Thank you.
All right.
You good, Deb?
I'm good.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Good luck.
Thank you.
Everyone's
Thank you.
excited. Harbor Commission, 9-member board, 2-year term, 5 vacancies, term ending 7/15/2026. I don't see Bruce.
He is the chair.
He's not here, right?
I think he was trying to make it, he had a conflict with another meeting, and
Yeah, he's got a lot going.
scrambling.
He was gonna try to come a little bit later.
All right,
Well,
well,
let's hold.
we'll just wait, and we can even do him at the end when he arrives or whatever. Clint Clements. Hi, Clint. How are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good.
Hello, neighbor.
Hello.
I'm on the other side of the marsh.
How are you guys doing? Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. So tell us why you want to continue on.
Because I like the town of Tiverton. I made you, when I came here 2 years ago to help, I said that I wanted to join the Harbor Commission so I could help with the harbor management plan. And so I've been working on that diligently with a number of other people. Deb Hagan, who is not on the commission anymore, Don Libby, who was appointed, anointed as help for drafting it. We are now at a point where the entire document has been written. And today and another day, Don and I were both out double-checking and mapping the mooring areas around the entire town, so we now have all the coordinates for that. The next step is to take it before Alice Sweet, who's the engineer, I believe she's the engineer for the town, and she's been...
Ashley, I'm sorry.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
Ashley Sweet.
Yeah.
And so she is, we're giving her the information, she's going to put it into the format that is required for the harbor management plan, and this will constitute the appendices. So we're very close to getting the end of that. At that point, Kevin Cute has said that he's from CRMC, he oversees the harbor management plan approvals, and he is going to take a look at the folder, the file at that point. And then it will come before you, and hopefully you guys will approve it. We've added a whole bunch of new items to it. We have, we've gone through and basically, it's in compliance with the Blue Book, and it's also, we've put in all kinds of definitions for reference material in there, so should anyone have any questions about anything, you can easily find a link to exactly where we're talking about, okay? So we're trying to eliminate any ambiguity in the future. Furthermore, in the last year, I also spearheaded the effort to go to electronic online mooring system for the town, and that has been largely adopted. It had a few hiccups at the beginning, which had to do with, just basically everybody kind of getting the idea that you, yes, have to pay with a credit card, and yes,
Yep.
you have to do it online. But at any rate, last report from the harbor master, Tyler, was that it's working. And Online Mooring Company has been responsive to his requests. So, that is why
You
I'm
want to
here.
continue on?
Yeah, thank you. That's what I'm trying to do. See if we can get it over the finish line, but it's a group effort. There are a number of people involved. And honestly, as we went around the harbors and looked at all the moorings today in all the areas, we updated it because they've changed a little bit in terms of shape and where moorings exist. We also, one of the things that I've observed is that in the Tiverton Basin, I've flown out in a helicopter, and I can show you what it looks like in a drone. The Portsmouth side is completely organized. The Tiverton side is not. and I have to tell you directly, that if you were interested, you could organize this mooring field a lot better, and Online Moorings can do that for you. The vendor that we now have for the electronic mooring field can do that for you to optimize the basin, and that will then do several things. That will probably work down, if not eliminate, the waiting list for moorings in the town. And also, if you bring up the, you can also optimize the mooring fees. Okay? So there is a big recommendation, I think, to organize this, but it's going to take the work and the cooperation of everybody from the town council down to the harbor commission. Okay?
We can work together on that.
Yeah, that's my report, but we're getting there. Hopefully we'll be there.
I want to
before-
thank you for all your hard work, and
You've
thank you
been
for
so
joining
busy.
us.
Yeah, you've been so busy. So when they organize that, it's so that we can get more moorings, more boats in that area, and they have like swing room. I'm not a boater, so.
Yeah, you have to have,
Excuse
you have to have swing room. You have to maintain a wide channel through the center of the harbor. You also have to have laneways to pass to Standish, and I think there are 2 laneways and 3 distinct mooring fields within the Tiverton side of the harbor, okay? But if you look at it, and it's readily apparent, maybe what I should do is I'll put a drone up over the top and I'll take a picture for you. You can
That'd be
see the
great.
difference.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
good.
that'd be really
Because the
good.
organization on the Portsmouth side has been done by, I think it was Online Moorings, but you can see it's laid out quite rhythmically. And whereas in the Tiverton side, it feels very grandfathered, if I can use a
Yep.
polite phrase. Okay? So there's an opportunity here for a double win, which is more revenue for the town, but also to eliminate the wait list. Okay?
And for my boating friends who have been waiting for so long, they'll be really
I'd
happy.
be thrilled.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
and we're trying to do that. And the other thing that we've done is we went back and we took a look at mostly, so the areas from the Tiverton Harbor going north are pretty well defined, especially when you get up into the commercial area, right up to the Massachusetts line. So those mooring fields are quite well defined, and we're using the existing coordinates that were in the last approved harbor management plan, which was, it's probably 15 years old, 20 years old at this point. The areas to the south of that have, ad hoc expanded and reshaped and all that sort of thing. So you can tell from the coordinates that were used in the last harbor management plan that they were drawn from a satellite image or off of a map. What we did was we went out and they actually identified the coordinates, the exact coordinates of where you can practically put a boat. Okay, and in some cases it's a little bit less, or some places a little bit more, but at least it's accurate. Okay, because those areas tend to be riparian as well as people with access. For instance, over in Winnissiment.
Yep.
So there are all kinds of different things that have come into play and have grown up since the last management plan was written. So anyway, that's what we tried to do.
Thank you for all that
You're welcome.
information and all that work.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Okay,
Anybody?
I'd entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, so given the fact that all 3 of these are reappointments,
Want to do it all?
I want to do them all in one shot,
Okay.
and I'm prepared to make a motion now.
All right, well, let's get Dr. Marco Jerks.
I'll vouch for Marco.
Yeah. Marco, just for a second, you can come sit on the side if you want. You can come sit with him. He's vouching for you, so I mean.
He's a good guy.
So how long have you been on the Harbor Commission?
So this is coming up in 2 years.
2 years. And why would you like to rejoin?
So I've really enjoyed living
It's really to work with Clint, I know that.
Mostly.
Yeah.
He's just looking for a discount on your house.
I wrangled him into this.
That's right. No, it's, I think we have a great working relationship with the entire commission. I think that's one of the strong points of getting things done. And I've really enjoyed living in Tiverton. I think it's a great way for me to serve in town government. It really brings my interests in boating, fishing, and proper coastal development together. I've been serving as secretary, and as part of that duty, I've been working on whittling down the backlog of all the minutes with filings with the state and here. My scientific background, I think, is helpful in interpreting scientific information to make the right decisions. And finally, I've been spearheading the Mount Hill Bay Greenway shared use path to increase coastal access for Tiverton, and so we're still working on that. So
Perfect.
I'd like to request a reappointment. There's still a lot of work to be done. And
You ready?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Bruce Cox, 35 Sunset View Drive, Clint Clements, 451 Sepauwett Ave, and Dr. Marco Dirks, 4240 Main Road, to terms ending 7/15/2026 on the Harbor Commission.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I do want to say that Bruce has been with us a very long time. He does a great job. He's been chairman, and I do approve of doing it.
And add that there are still 2 vacancies, so there's still
Yeah,
room.
somebody, yeah.
I have one correction to make. My last name is spelled without a T.
Clint Clements.
That's the supermarket, so.
Oh, yeah. That's probably why it's that way. All right, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? And if somebody wants to give Bruce a call and tell him to go home after his meeting, he's all set. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Budget Committee, Latasha Moody, 162 Mill Street, request appointment is, there you are. Goodness me. All right, so tell us why you would like to be on the Budget Committee, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so that's a good question. I came in here one day for a beach pass and kind of looked at the board up there for all the vacancies and went online just to see what was available. And the Budget Committee actually stood out to me. As far as who I am a retired military officer, served 27 years in the Army, and currently just on retirement and going back to school at UMass Boston, doing a master's in public administration, also with a concentration in gender leadership and public policy. So my 27 years in the Army was all filled with leadership and management, and also doing budgets at some different levels. So I'm familiar with dealing with lots of money. And most importantly, I want to be a part of my community. I'm not originally from Tiverton, but I've been here for the past 8 years and decided that this is where I'm going to call home. And I just want to be involved in the community as much as possible, and just looking to do something where I feel my hands can be most needed.
Thank you. You do have a wonderful resume.
Thank you.
Very expansive.
Any questions for Natasha?
I think it's great, getting new faces, new ideas, new blood into the town, and I thank you so much for coming forward.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we waive our policy and appoint Latasha Moody, 162 Mill Street, to the Budget Committee for a term ending 11/4/2024.
I need a vote to waive the policy first and vote on that first.
All right, so a motion to waive the policy.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor? Now.
All right, now I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Latasha Moody, 162 Mill Street, to the Budget Committee for a term ending 11/4/2020. Is that correct, 2024? So this November?
Why is that?
It was Dave Perry who resigned.
Oh.
He was coming up for re-election in November, but he
Okay.
resigned.
All right, so there it is, 11/4/2024.
Okay.
And right now, we have no one running for the Budget Committee.
So we'll be reappointing again
So don't
thereafter.
worry, you'll be back on.
Because the Budget Committee's not going to meet until after the election, so
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about this.
you get the rest of the summer off.
Do we have I have a motion and second? Did someone second? No?
Second.
Okay. There's only two of you can second,
Yeah.
so like, okay. Motion been made and second. All those in favor?
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Planning Board, which is a 9-member board, 3-year term, 1 vacancy, term ending 7/15/2027. Rosemary Egna. Good evening. Good evening.
I'm
So,
back.
Rosemary, why would you like to be back on this? How long have you been on it, Rosemary? Tell
I
everybody.
honestly don't remember. I mean,
Well,
I
I've been
took
here
a
12
sabbatical.
years, and you've been here at least
I was
12.
there before, and then I was
Right.
off, and they asked me to come back, and I've lived here all my life, and I have a lot of institutional
You do.
knowledge, and, you know, I want to share it with the rest of the board, because as you well know, they're not given all the facts. So,
Board members have talked to me, and they say your historical knowledge is priceless, and has asked me to put you on.
we all
But-
share.
But they do feel that your knowledge and your background to the town is priceless to them, so.
Thank you.
Madam Chair? I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Rosemary Eva, 4019 Main Road, to the planning board for a term ending 7/15/2027.
Second.
Second, and I'd just like to comment, because as the liaison of the planning, I'm at as many meetings as you probably, and your knowledge of every parcel of land in this town, the history of it, the zoning of it, the comp plan, you can recite it without books in front of you. It amazes me when you start to discuss some of the property, but not only are you able to speak it, people don't know that you have walked all of these properties in your boots, through the wetlands, through the woods, because I've done some of them with you, and you know every inch of this town and the history of it. And you are so invaluable to this committee, and there's so much going on with the planning committee in the last couple of years. It's mind-blowing what's going on, and the people on the committee are very fortunate to have you. They're also very valuable too, and I think it's a great committee, and it's exciting to be part of it as the liaison. So I just would like to thank you for all of your service and all of your years, and look forward to more.
Thank you, Mrs. Janik, and I appreciate you and Jay coming to so many meetings. I mean, I can't recall in all my years having 2 liaisons at a meeting continually. I mean, you've been very helpful, and this is what we need. We need more people to get involved and to help the town and to preserve our.
And Jay feels the same way.
Yeah, Jay couldn't be here tonight, but he
He's
feels
not
the
here
same.
tonight, he's working on his new knee, but he feels the same way.
He really is.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Edwards.
All right,
You're
so I
very
have a
welcome.
motion in a second, correct? Yes.
thought we
All
did,
those in
yeah.
favor?
Even though I drive Mr. Marcello crazy some nights.
He's not the lawyer.
Thank you.
So 8D is going to be, that is withdrawn because this gentleman is from Fall River,
Yeah, can't serve on the,
and the charter says it has to be a resident. Recreation Commission,
That'd be a voter, right?
Seven-member board, 3-year term, 1 vacancy, term ending 4/15/2025. Maureen Sylvia, 772 Stafford Road, request reappointment. I'm not going to reappoint you because you didn't bring Benny, the dog.
Well, first of all, I am not a reappoint, I'm a new appointee. I'm on the parade committee.
Oh,
close enough.
yeah.
And I wore my Goonie shirt, because that's where I'm supposed to be right now.
Yeah, I was gonna hopefully be there at 2, but I don't think I'm getting there. Maureen, tell us why, so you are on the parade committee and you do unbelievable work there. Why would you like to be on the recreation?
Well, so I am on the parade committee, and that, I mean, as big of an event as it is, and it gets crazy before, it's just once a year, so. Bob resigned from the recreation committee, and I talked to Dana and Stu, and even Bob is like, go. So I like all the rest of the stuff that recreation does, I'd love to be involved in. I think that,
You go to almost everything anyway.
Right, I think that people, there's a lot of people in this town that don't realize what Stu does with his committee for the kids and everybody else in this town. There's always something going on, and so I'd like to be a part of that. If I can help more than just the parade, this will be year-round, and I think it's a great group of people. I know just about everybody on the committee already, and I just, like I said, I love that there's always something going on, and a lot of towns aren't that lucky, so.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, motion to waive our policy. And appoint this evening.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made in second. All those in favor?
Madam Chair, motion to appoint Maureen Sylvia, 772 Stafford Road, to the Rec Committee for a term ending 4/15/2025.
Second.
Motion been made in second. All those in favor?
Yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congrats.
Go Goonies, go Goonies.
Go Goonies. Are you going? Yeah. Yeah. Us too. Us too. Oh, Benny. Benny is Maureen's dog that's always with us. I don't want you to think it's something weird. Board of Canvassers, Republican alternate position, 6-year term ending 10/15/2024. I received 5 people from the chairman of the Republican Party, and the preferred choice was Laurie Myers. Do we interview? We usually
No.
don't. Okay. So
We did the last time, which was weird, and I
yeah.
didn't think it was.
I would like to make a motion as, to appoint Laurie Myers as a Republican alternate position on the Board of Canvassers.
Second.
Term ending 10/15/2024, which is October again. Yeah, because somebody left. Okay. I have a
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor? Thank you. You're welcome, Laurie.
Congratulations, Lori.
So we just spoke about Stu, so Recreation Chair Gilfillen, discussion possible vote to approve RFP for installation of tennis pickleball courts at Town Farm. Hello.
Hello there. Thank you for approving Maureen, by the way. Very excited to have her.
I assume she came
Oh, yeah.
from your reference, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is just the RFP?
This is just the RFP to sort of put it out, and there have
Okay.
been discussions with potential vendors and trying to move it forward. So this is just from a process standpoint.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we vote to approve the RFP for the installation of tennis/pickleball courts at Town Farm, as requested by the chair.
Second.
I get bilateral seconds here all the time. Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Okay. Next.
So previously, the town council had approved funding to support a feasibility study of recreational areas in town. What we're proposing here is to use some of the funding from that to help close out the fitness park portion of the town farm project, but what we're also committing to is to doing a feasibility study, which we did when we started the grant for town farm. And one of the things, the reason we held off for as long as we did is we actually, in looking at some of the other projects that were in town, discussing like the public safety complex and others, we didn't want to overlap at the time. I do think the intent for this would be to look at all of the recreational properties that the town currently has and identify not only a short-term but a long-term plan, as a feasibility study would do. So we're willing to undertake, and I'm willing to undertake that in a volunteer capacity.
Okay. What is left, if we give you the 51, what did we?
It was 75,000.
We gave you 75.
There was 75 for that. The two other pieces that were in that were the installation of a fence around the skate park per the trust, which has been completed, and a wheelchair swing for Town Farm, which we have. And actually, the director and I were just discussing the installation
go
for
up.
it. So, yeah,
Okay.
it's just a matter of how do we get it installed. So.
Any questions for Stu?
Not for Stu, but I do have one mechanically for the solicitor. Given that these funds were casino dollars that I believe we set aside for the feasibility study, do we have to do like a actual budget transfer in order to do this expenditure, or should the dollars go back in and then,
Well, the dollars are
recommitted?
there for the feasibility. So I'm thinking if we say to state that that is for the installation of the town, of the outdoor fitness, it's there, and we're just reappropriating it.
Okay. Is
What
that,
do you think, Mike?
is that your view, Mr. Solicitor?
Yeah, I think I promised you at the last meeting that we were going to get a resolution with appropriating all these different funds that are left over.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about that. to be honest
Well,
with
I
you.
didn't, but we had no one here this week,
Yeah,
so I
exactly.
just figured, I don't
That's
want to
fine.
do important things.
We can do it, but then
without-
we'll do because the ordinance says that all these monies have to be appropriated by resolution, so.
Right, but we
So-
already.
But at least to get him started. this is
So we can get them going and we'll
Yeah.
memorialize it next meeting? All right. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve funds in the amount of $51,788.80 from the feasibility study to the outdoor fitness park installation as requested by Chair Gilfillen.
I have a second.
Second.
Oh, it's his turn. Motion been made and second. All those in favor? Stay right here for a minute, please.
Okay.
No Goonies for you.
No, if I can't go, the rest of you are staying.
Still have never seen Goonies. It's fine.
Councilor Paull.
Hey, you guys.
So I'm gonna, David has been working on this, but I've also been involved. Discussion possible vote to approving the power plant funds to purchase basketball rims and backboards for Bulgarmarsh Park Recreation area.
Back for this?
Okay, so this is, what's the matter?
40,
No, there's no backup
90,
for it.
okay.
Because David's out of town, and I said I would handle it, because we have a volunteer, a parent volunteer, that has, you know who I'm talking about?
Not sure this.
He's one of your friends, but I can't think of his name off the bat.
Your best friend.
So, he's at every concert. He has volunteered to do it. We've looked into it. They think it's gonna be somewhere between 15,000 and 20,000. And what they're proposing is what's there now is not in really bad shape, but the ones on Bay Street need to be replaced. So they're willing to bring them to Bay Street and move them. I wasn't thinking power plant funds, but we can do that. I was thinking, we'll do power plant since it's here on the, since it's here on,
You can always change it later if you.
yeah, we can always change it. Well, I was good, I'm telling you what I'm thinking. The casino has given us 25,000 a year for 5 years.
Correct.
Okay, so I was thinking, we've used power plant to do all different various community projects. I thought this would be nice for that money to go there.
How much do we have left from power plant?
I checked with Chris, and we do have enough. I was thinking about $20,000 to give, because you never know. And what I'm gonna ask you is, do we have to go out for bid? There is a company in New Bedford.
Are these to resurface the courts? What are we
No,
doing?
it's to replace.
The backboards at the basketball
Backwards and
hoops.
stuff?
Well, and we can check and see if there's any vendors in the master pricing.
Because they're
manual.
vendors on the master plan list, but
I
otherwise
think-
you would have to go to bid.
I think David might have known that.
Well, and one of the things that Chris always looks for is to get several different bids anyway, just on principle. So I think that would definitely be something we can do.
Well, what Chris had told me when we discussed this, that he thought there was somebody on the master bid, and we wouldn't have to
Find out.
go out. So what I am suggesting is that we allocate $20,000, have them go out, and if it does need to be bid, we'll put it back on. The people who are willing to do this want to do it before the fall comes in. So what does everyone think?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to do exactly what you just said.
All right, so, but because it says power plant, we'll have to do power plant for now.
Yep.
And then later we
Not to
can,
exceed.
not to exceed 20.
Not to exceed 20,000 from the power, allocated from the power plant monies and subject to a vendor on the master price list or bids.
And something I might suggest is phrasing it in a way that allows for the updating of both the Bay Street facility and Bulgarmarsh. So if you're talking about, there might, I don't know that there would be, but there may be expenses related to install or moving it over. So-
Missing a bolt or something. Yeah, that's implicit in my motion. Thank you.
Second. I'll
Is it Ryan
second.
Petrie?
Yes, Ryan Petrie, yes. I wanted to say Ryan, but I didn't want to insult him by
No,
saying the wrong.
He's been great. He was very helpful when we put the fencing.
Yes,
in
and he
town.
has all, he said he could
awesome.
do it, yes. All right, so I have a motion, I have a second. Motion been made in second, all those in favor? Thank you, David will be happy too. and
Goonies.
someone-
Thank you. Goonies.
Goonies.
I have it on VHS if he wants to.
Town administrator.
Amazon Prime, buddy.
No, it's fun to be at Picasset and watch it under the moonlight. Update on Warren Avenue and other roads with truck restrictions. So Rick got involved in this when he came back from vacation. And Rick, do you want to talk to us about this a little bit? I've gone by them there myself a couple of times now. And where the signs are placed, you can kind of see them from the road, but if you're not looking, you have to come in. My only thing about this is these trucks keep going back and forth. They're seeing these signs. right, because it's the same trucks.
Once
So-
they're on Warren.
Yes, but Deb, if you've seen it once, why are you repeating traveling?
But
And I
new
don't
ones, new
know.
ones are not seeing it, and they're not getting stopped, so they're continuing
Right,
to do
so,
it.
so I think it's a twofold
I
problem.
understand why there's an issue.
So go ahead.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Deb. So I have gone out there a couple times, and I also went out there with the foreman, up and down Main Road, up and down Fish Road. We think that they are visible. They are placed in accordance with what they call the MUTCD. That's put out by the United States Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, Manual and Uniform Traffic Control Devices. So those are placed, and they were placed way before my time. They're placed in accordance with that Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, which regulates all the kind of signs, whether they're flagger ahead, stop signs, truck signs, directional signs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a very involved process.
But we could put them on Fish Road.
Well, what they say to place them, and they want uniformity. So, for instance, they want stop signs a certain distance, they want speed signs a certain size. They want those signs where you have it according to section 2B.45. These selective exclusion signs should be placed on the right-hand side of the roadway, of each roadway, Warren Ave, Beardsworth, et cetera, et cetera.
Russell Drive has them too.
On the right side of the roadway at an appropriate distance from the intersection, and they are, so as to be clearly visible to all road users turning onto the roadway. So the people driving truck have a responsibility to know what the regulations are. They know where the sign should be placed. So just like anybody that takes driver's ed, they have to know what the speed limit sign means, where the stop signs will be placed, what merge means, what yield means. So truck drivers are supposed to know, that's a requirement of being a truck driver, where the signs should be placed. So they are placed in the correct location, and they are visible. We have replaced a couple that have been faded. On the agenda, it also mentioned stop signs. I'm not aware of any
But
stop
what I
signs
want to
issues.
ask is there anything stopping us from putting them on Fish Road and on Main Road? There's no, like, it's a state road, but can we still put the truck signs there? Because what I was trying to get at is we need enforcement also. Because, like, we need the signs, but we need enforcement, and we need to give tickets, and fines need to go up if you keep breaking it. But is there a way to put them on Fish and Main Road?
I know what you're saying, Denise. My interpretation of the manual is you're not supposed to have alternate locations for these signs. For instance, on Fish Road, you'd have them coming if you're heading south, and you'd have them if you're heading north. To my understanding, the way they want uniform traffic control devices, they don't want those. That's how I read it.
Have you
Some-
read it?
Madam Chair, a question on this manual. Is this like mandated by the federal government, state government, or is this just
No,
best
I think
practices?
it's just best practice.
It's an interesting question, but for the last 20 or 30 years, whether I've been here or other locations, people follow the manual on uniform traffic control devices because they want people to recognize those signs.
But people aren't recognizing
So-
them now, Rick.
Well, they may be ignoring them, just like we, if I may say so, just like we see litter next to the no littering sign. Just-
Yeah, the seagull on top of the no seagull sign, yeah.
You'll notice any number of people, going faster than the speed limit. They know what it is.
Madam Chair, I have a quick question as a follow-up. So in lieu of violating this sacred document, would it be possible for us to get, some of those big highway signs that, RIDOT has, and just put the message on there, like, no through trucks, we'll slap it right at Warren, right at Main Road, no through trucks, and then, like, effective, 2 days from now, we're gonna start ticketing anybody who drives their truck through this neighborhood, and then allow Chief Jones to follow up with that, and just dramatically overreact.
The only thing is we'd have to coordinate, we'd have to do it a week from now, so coordinate it with the town administrator.
Correct.
The chief, And then could we get access to a sign like that to stay up for a couple of weeks?
DPW doesn't have funds, but we could, with
Yeah.
permission, rent one. But the police do have one that's, whether it's in use now, I don't know. And I don't know if it has enough message board to say that, but I can look into that.
They do. All right, so I can talk to them tomorrow because I'm in meetings with them. I can talk to them tomorrow and see if we can coordinate something. But Chief Joan is going to say that he can't have a police car there 24 hours a day either.
No, but he did say
You know what
that,
I'm saying?
he did say that he was getting a second one of those message boards. And it was one that has, it takes data. When he was here,
Yes.
when we were talking about this, and it would record data so that we would know what speed the vehicle was going and, because the gentleman who came was not just complaining about trucks. He was complaining about speeding.
Yeah.
People running the stop sign, speeding through. I forget where on Warren he lived, but his concern about the safety. And the police chief said that the new board they're getting would record the speed, the time of the day, so they would have data so that they could make a better decision about what they would do. And maybe when they would enforce it more, when they'd have patrols there.
So why don't we have a little subcommittee? Is that okay with all of you?
I don't necessarily know we need a
Well,
subcommittee.
not a subcommittee. I
Yeah.
just mean, why don't we have Chris talk to
Yes,
the
have
DPW director?
have them come up with a plan to
Yes, they
dramatically
come up with a
overreact to the problem so that it ends
That's
it.
what a little subcommittee was
Yeah.
supposed to say.
Perfect.
And I will mention it to Chris tomorrow.
Can I just,
And if I may
Okay,
say
now
so,
let's talk about stop signs.
so,
that I'm not aware of.
All right, so there used to be 2 stop signs. There really were.
We talk about one on the east side, there's one on the going west, but the one on the east was taken down, so that one needs to be
Why
put
though?
back. Probably due to road construction, I think, was the issue,
Okay.
if I recall.
Yeah,
But,
we,
On Warren
DPW has,
Avenue, right now, there's one sign.
yeah, DPW is not, at least in the last X amount of years. There is a different amount of stop signs on Warren Ave, depending on whether you're heading east or west. That has been that way for
it's always been like
who
that.
knows. But if there's a missing stop sign, do you happen to know the side street?
so I would, maybe we, rather than try and have us pinpoint the location, we just ask the director to take a look at the stop signs on Warren Ave and see if
Yeah.
one might be missing or if,
Warren Avenue and Fish is already listed in ordinances as having a stop sign.
Yeah.
It's authorized.
No, it's not Warren Avenue and Fish.
It's one of the little
It's the
side streets.
going up Warren Avenue.
yeah.
There used to be another stop sign there, I know.
Is Russell Drive in the Fish?
No.
No,
But-
Is it
but Warren,
Is it
but Russell
Warren
Drive,
and Richard, maybe?
no, I
But-
think it's the other one.
Mr. Director, what does the stop sign cost?
Maybe all total, maybe $100 to $200 if you're gonna have to post, et cetera. But we do those, but as Denise mentioned, we'll look on the list in the ordinance as Mike is doing, and any street on Warren Ave that's supposed to have a stop sign and it's missing, we'll install one.
Right.
And
in order
perhaps-
to put another one, we have to approve that.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not there. We just let me.
Yeah.
Let me
So-
know ordinance,
yes.
yeah.
So perhaps we could ask the director to confer with the chief of police to determine if we are not missing a stop sign, if one should be added, and then we can get it on the ordinance and get rocking and rolling.
The gentleman who was here last time said that there was supposed to be a stop sign, I don't remember which intersection, and a pole was put in, but a sign was never placed on that pole. So I don't know if it was approved and never put in, I'm not sure.
If that's further to the east, those were installed as part of the traffic calming, but not for stop signs, but for something that really never came to fruition,
I think that's
which
what he was
was
talking
speed bumps ahead.
Yes,
So
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
that was not a stop sign, though. But we will look, and any stop sign that's missing, we will install it, and I will talk to the chief.
Yeah, and
And
if
if
there's
he
a-
feels more needed,
Perfect.
yeah, because we just recently put one on Merritt Drive because of the same problem. For some reason, people are going up Merritt more than they ever did, so I'm not quite sure why. And there was some speeding going on there, and we put one there.
Can I just ask, you have in your report, we've not finalized our estimate, but initial estimates to place applicable signs on Main Road and Fish Road would cost in the ballpark of $7,000. Are those for the truck signs?
Yes.
Okay, that's not stop signs, that's the truck signs. I will say that Warren, it's going one way, there are more signs than going the other way.
Yes.
And not that I drive it all that often, but I feel like there's not as many signs as there used to. You're not stopping as
Yeah, there
frequently
isn't.
But,
on
but
that.
And I always wondered why there was more going one way than the other. I'm not
Who knows?
quite sure what the logic of that was.
yeah,
I really don't.
I don't know what that was, but again, John may not like this. The MUTCD stop signs, not everybody agrees with this, but the MUTCD, stop signs are actually not supposed to be used as a speed limiting measure. They're supposed to be a safety for visibility, et cetera.
Well, it is a safety because there's people
And there's no
coming out of
sidewalks,
side
yeah.
streets, and people are just speeding by, and when you try to take that turn, it becomes a safety
Right.
issue.
Oh, I don't disagree, but that's more of an enforcement issue and a speed limiting, what the limit is posted. So I just mentioned that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I look forward to your, what you come back to us with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, town administrator discussion, possible vote to approve budget transfers. I have to go through.
No, as listed.
As listed. Any
Madam Chair.
questions?
Motion to approve the transfers as requested by the administrator.
Second.
Second.
Motion been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
For those at home, it's cleanup from last budget cycle.
Town administrator discussion, possible vote to approve funding to advertise for a building zoning official. We have a vacancy as of recently, and Chris is asking that we go out for advertisement.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we authorize the expenditures of funds to advertise for the building/zoning official as requested by the administrator.
Second.
Motion been made in second. All those in favor?
Can I just ask, where are we advertising this?
Wherever the clerk deems.
We advertise it online on the website, and we advertise it in the Sakonnet Times in the classified section.
And are those appropriate for this position? I mean,
Yeah, this is zoning official, so
Yes.
it's not planning, so it
Okay.
doesn't go up on the planning.
No.
Maybe throw a
Website.
ZipRecruiter out there or
Okay.
something.
All right, town administrator update on school casino funds.
We didn't vote, I don't think.
We did.
Oh, motion made in second.
We all voted. We
I
just
think
voted
we
again.
did, and then, I thought we did. All right, don't confuse me now. Town administrator update on school casino funds clarification from town treasurer. The town treasurer was not able to make it tonight, or the town administrator, but I will say, there was a question from the school committee chairman on where the treasurer's numbers came from. The next day, Denise sent us why she got these numbers, and it came from the school committee, from their financial officer, before she left. And the email was sent to Denise, CCing it also to the superintendent, who was sitting here and didn't seem to know what anybody was talking about. So, since Denise saw it, there was a clerical error, and it was a little bit more than what the financial director had said. But I'm gonna have Denise explain this, because this all has to do with how we had that special fund and how we have to take from there. And I didn't get to speak to her, and because we were both busy, but I want to know how she paid for this shortfall. So I'm going to put it on the next agenda, if that's okay with everyone.
Do you need a motion to continue, or?
Yeah.
All right,
I also want to say that Denise emailed this to all of us and also all the school committee members, so they could have clarification of, it was their numbers and not ours.
And it's very detailed, all of
It's
the,
very
everything
detailed.
that's been paid out
Right, so.
since
but this-
since January 2022.
But Diane wanted to know where she got these numbers. It came from them, so.
Madam Chair, motion to continue 9H to the next council meeting.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor? Town administrator, discussion, possible vote to authorize the town administrator to utilize $1,500 of town council contingency funds to pay for Rhode Island Ready application. Any questions?
Madam Chair? One quick question on this. If we are awarded the application, the council still has one more bite at the apple, or no?
Right,
Oh, yeah.
You have the right to refuse, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
There's no guarantee you're gonna be granted.
exactly. So I will make a motion to authorize the town administrator to take $1,500 from council contingency to pay for the Rhode Island Ready application fee.
Second.
Quick discussion?
Go ahead.
If we do not get it, is it refundable?
No.
I don't know.
I doubt it.
think so.
I doubt it. No, because when you apply, no, I doubt it, John.
I'll call
It
somebody
was
on that
good
one.
thinking, but,
You can phone a
some
friend.
motions are made and second, all those in favor? Discussion and planning vote to approve funding for solar ordinance corrections as recommended by the planning board.
This is a cleanup of the solar ordinance. This is a cleanup of the solar ordinance. There were some changes to make it comply with the national and APA
Isn't it
standards.
funding for advertising,
Yes, it
though?
is,
It doesn't say that.
Oh, yeah.
That just confused me.
It is for advertising. It's going to go out to
But should
advertising,
it
because
have-
it's a zoning amendment.
Should it have said that, though?
It kind of is implied, I think.
Yeah,
Well, okay.
I'm okay with it, because
Okay,
it's just,
you were
it's
right.
just for advertising.
I know, because when I looked at, okay,
Madam Chair?
yes.
Motion to approve the funding for advertising the solar ordinance corrections as recommended by the planning board.
Second.
Motion been made and second, all those in favor? Item K, discussion and possible vote to approve funding to advertise the proposed ordinance amendment relating to Chapter 6, Alcoholic Beverages, Section 6-9, number of licenses for Class C license. So, from our discussion, go ahead.
I'm sorry, so this is, as you remember, the town clerk's office got an application for inquire about a Class C license. At the time, we didn't have a zoning, we didn't have an ordinance that allowed Class C licenses. After the last council discussion, we amended the current liquor ordinances to include Class Cs, limited to 2. And that's what we're asking you to do, is now just advertise to change the ordinance to allow Class C license up to a maximum of 2, subject to a public hearing. So there's no, this will basically just, this is just a request to advertise the change in the ordinance. If you vote no, then
We can always change this, because we have done this with the liquor, where if we have 2 out there and it's going well, we can increase this to 4 if we need.
this
if
is
we
limited
want
by
to.
population as well. I think 1,000 per 1,000 people, I think the state law
Yeah, so
says.
we could go
You
further
could go
up.
farther, but we,
Okay.
I believe the number was 14 when you
Believe
said it
so,
last
yeah.
meeting, so.
But I think 2 would be a good way to see how this is working. Someone comes into town, wants to do it, we could always.
yeah, this is,
increase it.
again, this is a saloon license.
I'll fight you at
I
the
know,
public
but
hearing for
you have
6,
to be a
but.
little- Believe it or not, it's a saloon license at a bookstore.
Exactly.
As long as you put the swingy doors, we're good.
Yeah, that's what they're telling me. Yeah, you have to put that, okay, some kind of doors, yeah.
Madam Chair?
All right, go ahead.
Motion to approve the funding to advertise the proposed ordinance amendment related to Chapter 6 Alcoholic Beverages, Section 6-9, number of licenses for Class C license.
Second.
Do we have to put a date on when?
No, that'll be in the advertisement. 3 weeks,
Okay.
I think.
3 weeks, all right.
It's 21 days, so it'll be September 23rd.
Hooray.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Motion made, second, all those in favor?
So just to clarify, assuming it passes on 9/23, then the licenses are available for applying. The person would have to apply, and then there would be a whole nother public hearing on that after they apply. So it's not, just so you
I'm
understand.
sorry, it's just the way it works.
The machinations of government. The wheels turn slowly.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session, Town Solicitor, Rhode Island General Law 4246582, general update on all pending litigation.
So moved.
Motion's been made and,
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
thank you. We're now in executive session after a few minutes. And I get to go watch the Goonies.
What time is it?
It starts at 8:30. It goes on.